Good afternoon and welcome to ITSE 2309. If you have not done so in the last 5 or 6 minutes, I need you to stop to restart your computer at this time. So make sure you've saved everything, and you have to restart because we're going to be installing some software and you need to go from a clean start. So stop right now and restart, and then come back into this video and we'll do it again. I'll see you in a couple of minutes. Okay, so I assume that you have now restarted, and here we are. Let me tell you a little bit about ITSE 2309. This is an online summer, well, right now it's going to be the summer class, although I might use this same video for the fall class. I usually tend to remake it. I will usually turn my video off because you don't want to see me anyway. You'll hear me and you'll see my screen and anything that I type or distribute. Second, that although this class has no set scheduled meeting times, that does not mean that it does not have lectures. You're listening to one right now. It does have lectures. It has about an hour and 40 minutes a week of lectures, so about 2 50-minute lectures. These will occur on Tuesday night and Thursday night at 6 o'clock for the live stream. Live stream means that you can connect and you can talk. You can talk to me in the lecture. You can hear me, see me if I turn on my my monitor. I usually don't. It saves a little bandwidth if I don't. You don't have to turn on your monitor, and so I encourage you to attend the online lectures. If you cannot, that's okay. They're going to be recorded and they will be linked from Canvas, and so you will have access to these guys. Okay, let's get started here, and it will be required that you follow the lectures each week. If you don't, there will be I will hold you responsible for anything that I say in lecture. So just get over it and get ready to follow along in the lectures. You can do it at any time that you want to that works for you, but you do have to follow the lectures. Okay, we are going to be using a software package that is called Windows SQL Server. We're going to be using the 2017 version. Our book says 2016, but there's a better one out. It won't make any difference on the book. So the book says 2016, but that's fine. We'll be getting it. The good thing about it is the price is right. It's free to download, and that's what we're going to do right now. So follow along with me if you please. We're going to go to, this is for Windows 10. If you have Windows 7 or are using a Macintosh emulator, you need to download Windows Server 2012, the 32-bit version. But this is for Windows 10. Most of us will have that. You really should have that, although you can live with Windows 7. You're going to go to this URL. Okay, you can pause the... Wait a minute, I haven't shared my screen yet, have I? Okay. It would help if I turned the screen share on. There. Now the screen share is on. Okay. So let me go back to the URL. Okay, we're going to go to this URL. Be nice if I showed it to you, huh? This URL, HTTPS, Microsoft and all that. Boy, that would have been embarrassing if I'd have done 30 minutes and forgotten to turn on my screen share. Lots of times I'll forget to turn on the record, and so I always have to make sure that I'm recording. I am. So here it is, and I'm going to go there now. So by magic, I'm there. And this is where you're going to go to download, and you're going to go down to the, this is the download center, and you're going to go to, well, okay. Download does not start. Click here. Okay. I guess click here to download manually. The fact of the matter is that I've already gotten it download. That's probably why it's not going. So we're going to download 2017, and it says click here to download manually. And the thing that we're going to want to get is this one right here, SQL Server 2017 SSEI EXPR Express.exe. You can see it here. Mine says 1 because I've already downloaded it. That'll take a little while, so just pause the play right now and go download that guy. Okay. Once you've gotten him downloaded, you need to save him someplace. Mine is on Colin 9 SQL 2017 install files. And here he is, SQL Server 2017 SSEI Express.exe. Now that you've gotten him downloaded, we're going to be downloading some other stuff, but that's fine. We will go ahead and execute him. Do we want to allow him to make changes? Yes. And I'm going to go back to this one. So we downloaded that file. Select an installation type. We're going to select for that. Here we go. Download media. We're going to select download the media. Okay. Download. And then, let's see. Specify SQL Server installer, download Express Advanced. Ensure that the file you receive is named this. So that's the file we're trying to get here. So when you say download media, so Express Advanced 710 meg, I think that was. About 7 gigabytes, yeah. Advanced roughly 7 gig. SQL Server Engine, full text services, reporting services, and the whole bit. And so that's what you'll click there. And then select your download location. So you'll probably put it in the same folder. I would put it in that folder that I just had a minute ago. And that is here. So by magic, I have just downloaded it. Of course, I'm going to be sitting here for a while watching it download. At this point, you should go download that file. The file you would get is SQL EXPR ADV underscore X64 underscore ENU.exe. Okay, make sure you get that file. This one right here is just kind of a hook that downloads it for you. You don't have to go get that one. Okay. I mean, we don't need it anymore after this. So you've downloaded it. Assume so. Just pause your play and go download this file from here. When that downloads, closing, exit. We're now ready to. I don't know, let me make sure I haven't. Okay. And so we're here. We've got this file. And we are now ready to execute him. So I'm going to go ahead and execute. And I'm probably going to pause the recording again. I'm going to say click, click. Say yes. The directory for the extracted files can be anything you like. I'm going to put it in documents, colon 2309, 2017 install files. I'm going to put it in the install files. Okay. Well, I guess it has to be empty. Okay. We'll just let it choose where to put it. I'm going to say yes, and I'm just going to let it go ahead and install it wherever it wants. I think it just throws these away anyway. So what did we do? First we downloaded this file. Then executing that downloads this file. We should be running now. We're going to be here for quite a while, so I'm going to be pausing the recording. Let's see if I have to. Okay, here we go. Well, this is the first screen that we get in the install process. Now, you do need to watch carefully that you follow along in the process. Do not start playing games or anything on your computer or surfing the net while you're doing this. You're going to have to take about 20 or 30 minutes and just install this. If you don't have that time, if you shut everything else down, and if you don't have time to do that right now, come back to it later. Okay. So we're going to do a new SQL Server standalone installation. Click. We're going to have to accept the license terms. It's always good to read them, but basically it's saying it's a Express edition. It's kind of a student edition of the software. So it's the same thing, except your tables can't get very big. Next. And I believe we're going to, okay. We got one warning on the Windows firewall. The Windows, I don't know what the warning is. Okay, the Windows firewall is enabled. Maybe the firewall could get in the way. There's nothing stopping you from installing it and running it, even if it has a firewall. So I'm going to ignore that warning, and I'm going to go on to next. That should be the only warning that you get. Okay, now we're choosing what to install, so we're going to pretty much take the whole meal deal. We're just going to take the defaults. We are not going to install the local DB, the local database. And I'm going to say next. I have to read this stuff to make sure. Okay, we're going to make a note of this named instance. The name of our SQL server will be SQL Express. Instance ID, SQL Express. Make a note of that. You'll see it come around later. Next. All right, accounts. All right, now this one is kind of important right now. So this is the first one that I'm going to change. The SQL Server Database Engine. I'm going to set this, instead of automatic startup, I'm going to set it to a manual startup. Now this is the SQL Server database. This is the big package. The reason I'm going to set this to a manual startup is because for the same reason that I don't leave my car running in my driveway at night, even though I have to go out and start it in the morning. When you are ready to go when you're ready to use your database, you will need to go start it over in the services. And then when you're done, you turn it off and it doesn't drink all your memory and use your battery. So the first one, SQL Server Database Engine, should be manual startup. Now, if you want to make it automatic, you can, but it's going to use a lot of your computer resources. And there's lots of times when you really don't need that to be. Okay, once I've set that first one to manual, go next. I believe this is where we're going to. Okay, this is the important one now. We have to have mixed mode, SQL Server authentication and Windows authentication. What this means is that we're going to let you log into the server with a password on the server. Okay, it's asking you to specify the password for the SQL Server SA account. Choose a password that you will remember. I'm going to choose one. Your password must be 8 characters. It must have uppercase, lowercase, digit, and special character, 3 out of 4 of those. I'm using all 4 of them. Okay. SQL Server administrators will be your Windows account that you are installing it with. SQL Server administrators have unrestricted access. So this Windows account is a very powerful account, and then this is the system administrator password. We will need to keep that password. Don't lose that password, although there is a way to get it. Now I'm going to say next. Okay, this one I just accept. I think I go next. Okay. Another one to accept. Next. And I think we are off to the races now, but not a very fast race. And we're going to be here for a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my meeting, wherever it is. Okay. I'm going to pause the, oh, come on. I'm going to pause my recording. So I'll meet you here when everything's done. It's going to take a while, so don't be clicking stuff. This will be about a half-hour process. So I'm going to pause, and after it's run, just be patient, let it run, go have you a cup of coffee or something, and come back in 30 minutes or so, and I'll see you then. Oh, gee. Hey, wasn't that fun? Wasn't that just that was more fun than watching bread rise. Mine took about 45 minutes. Okay, as I graze through it, I look down through here and everything is successful. It's all green, as you should see. If there's anything wrong, I don't know. Okay, I hope we can troubleshoot it. And we now have the SQL Server database installed. Just a minute, I've been out walking, and so I'm going to turn on my ceiling fan. Okay. Now, everything should be fine here. We've got him installed. We're all green across the border. Everything's fine. Come across here and close him. Now, I want to check one more thing. What I want you to do at this point is close everything. We're going to go to our menu, and I want to go down to Windows Let's see. Windows Administrative Tools. Now, notice I have that as an icon on my Start menu. I suggest you put it there too. We're going to go down to Services. Okay, Services. So that's the one that you want to put onto your Start menu. And we're going to scroll down in Services to SQL Server, SQL Express. Notice that it is running. That's because it started it because it just installed it, so it assumes you want it to be running. It is set to a manual startup. Now, I have several options here. SQL Server, remember that SQL Express? That was the one we were looking for. SQL Server, SQL Express. If I right-click him, okay, double-click him. Okay, I double-clicked him. Startup time is manual. He is running. I can stop him here. Stop. Now he is not running anymore. I turned the engine off. I can click Start. Now he is running. I started the engine, so running or there'll be nothing there. Manual startup, that's what I want to see there. The idea is that you turn the service off when you're not using it, just because there is no reason to be paying the price for having the engine running of your car while it's sitting in your driveway overnight. Turn it off. Use half a tank of gas sitting there idling. It uses your battery, it uses your memory, it uses your processor. And there's no point in having it running unless you're using it. So I'm getting ready to use it. Oh, what else? Okay, done with this. I'm going to close this. And we now have the database engine installed. Okay, go to next one. So we've installed this thing, that monstrous thing. By the way, you are free to delete this thing, and you are free to delete this thing if you wish. Couple of things I want to say right now. Do not reinstall Microsoft SQL Server. Do not reinstall. If you have a problem, do not reinstall. It does not uninstall the old one. It just installs two of them, or one over the other, and it makes a really, really big mess. So the last thing you want to do is to reinstall. If you have a problem, you go to your Windows and you type Control Panel, C-O-N-T-R, there, I've got it right there. Go to the Control Panel and you go to your Programs and Features. And you scroll down until you find SQL. We'll find it in a minute, Microsoft. Okay, Microsoft SQL. Starting here, SQL, Microsoft SQL, all of this stuff, all of this SQL Server, native client, all of that stuff, uninstall it first. Then you can reinstall. There's what? There's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them that have to be uninstalled. Here's another one down here that says SQL. VSS Writer, I'm not sure about that one. So that's how you uninstall it. When you're done with it and you don't want this darn thing on here anymore, just you have to uninstall, 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 I believe. That's the only way to do it. Okay, That's just how databases are. Okay, we're ready to move on. Go to this monster URL. And that's HTTPS Microsoft SSMS SQL Server Management Studio. There are two pieces to our software. There is the SQL engine that we just installed, and there is the SQL Management Studio. SQL Management Studio is a little bit like Access, if you've taken that class. It's kind of a graphical user interface, and it is also an executable runtime environment. And I hope I'm recording. Okay. Where was I? Here we are. Okay, so the SQL Server Management Studio is the runtime environment. So we're going to go to this URL. Copy the URL. I'm lucky I can just do Control-C. I don't think you can. Go back to your browser. Put that address in. Download this. Download SQL Server Management Studio 17.9.1. Looks like we have an updated version. Looks like we have an updated version, folks. Download 18.0. No longer in preview. Okay, well, hey, we're going to download the newer one. We don't want to go back to the old one, so let's get the new one. And I'm going to download SQL Server Management Studio 18.0. Notice it's going to override. It's still going to be called SSMS Setup ENU. And this one's going to be called -1. So I'm going to say save. It shouldn't take it a long time to download. Well, it says it's going pretty quickly. Oh, I guess it is. 15, 14, 13, 15, 14, 13. Okay. I guess I'm going to pause it while we're doing that. And pause the. And again. And again. That was fun. So again, we now have the file that we needed. The file that we needed, this next file that we need was SSMS setup enu.exe. And we just downloaded that one. So I'm ready to execute that at this time. Bing. This one should not take as long. I say yes. And we will install. Now, what are we installing? We're installing the Management Studio. This is the graphical user interface for the SQL Server. So SQL Server has an engine and it has a graphical user interface. Two pieces to it. And so we're going to install this piece, the one that is the graphical user interface. And let's see, if it looks like it's going to take a long time, I'm going to pause the recording again. Oh, I'm going a little bit quickly. Okay. Now, I need to admonish you to follow along carefully with the server setup. Okay, I'm going to pause briefly, I guess. Okay, well, we'll let it go. This one's going to run more quickly than the others. Others ran about 45 minutes or an hour each. This one will be pretty quickly, pretty soon. So we'll just let it run. I'll pause the recording. Okay, we're back. And now we're at this screen. Restart required. Is it really? Well, maybe it is, and maybe you should do it. But, you know, if I do it, I'm going to have to restart my recording. I don't want to do it. So I'm going to skip it. I think you can. I'm just going to say close. And I believe we are set up and running, and it's supposed to have been restarted, but it'd be a good idea to go ahead and restart at some point. I don't think you have to right now. Now let's look at what we've got. All right, I'm gonna close this. Follow this is the hyperlink. That hyperlink changed, by the way. I'm gonna go ahead and close this. These files, 1, 2, 3 files, these executable files, may be deleted. Notice that that's what? That's over 7 gigabytes, half a gig. So these guys are pretty big. You may delete these. You can always download them again if you have to. Go ahead and keep them for a little while. At the end of the class, by all means, delete them. That's a huge chunk. That's a big chunk of real estate they're taking up there. I'm going to close this. Now, Microsoft SQL Server 2017, Microsoft SQL Server Tools 18. That's the one I'm interested in. This one is the guy I'm interested in, Server Tools 18. That's what we just installed. Let's see, where do I want? Tools 18. Okay, right there. Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio 2018. Put that guy on your quick start menu because you're going to be using him. This is our guy. Microsoft SQL Server. See if I can open this up. Management Studio. SQL Server Management Studio version 18. Now, this depends on having the SQL database engine running. It is because we just checked. What does it say here? Would you like to import the file? I'm going to say do not. I don't know what that was. I want to get a clean start here because I had other stuff running here. You probably won't see that. All right, here we are. And this is kind of where we start everything from here. Server type is a database engine. Server name. Hey, remember that server name? SQL Express? Well, there it is. Now, this first numbers might be a little bit different. Authentication. Authentication. Okay. For right now, we're going to say Windows authentication. That means that the user of the database is the Windows user. So this logs you in as the system admin. The other one is SQL Server authentication. That one you need a login, username, and password. We're going to log in right now with Windows authentication. Now, we haven't done anything right now, so let's just stop and let me caution you to follow carefully from now on. Follow carefully. I'm going to click Connect. If you get an error right here, the most likely reason is because your database is not running. Most likely it is because over here in your services, in your Windows services, if you scroll down to Windows SQL, Windows to SQL Server, most likely you will find it is not running. Set to manual. Okay, go start it. So we are connected. Okay, so we're ready to get wild here. I'm going to pause for a minute. Okay, here we go. We're going to do some things here with this setup. So we're going to set up our database environment now. And this is critical that it be set up correctly. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go down through these guys in order: databases and security. The top two are the one we're going to be interested in: databases and security. Security controls our logins. Okay, so I want you to go to security, drop it down. Under it we have logins. Drop it down. Right-click Logins. Click New Login. Here you will create your user name, your user identity. Your login name will be your first initial, or maybe your first two if you like, your last name, or any part of that that you want to use. It can be kept short and sweet. Notice mine has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mine has about 8 characters in it. That's fine. S.W. Smith. My name is Stephen W. Smith. If you have a long name that you don't like to type, that's fine. Use a shortened version of it. That is fine. Okay. Second piece, SQL Server authentication. Am I recording? SQL Server authentication. Give yourself a password. It may be the same password as the administrator. Probably would not normally be a good idea, but it's okay here. It must have a uppercase, lowercase, digit, and a special character. It must have 3 out of 4 of those. I make mine have it all. Okay, keep with me here. I gave it my password twice. Enforce password policy, yes. Uncheck enforce password expiration and say okay. Notice down here, my user now exists. Ready? All right. So we have created our login. Notice that here is the SA, the system administrator login. Here is SW Smith. We are done with this for a minute. I'm going to close these guys back down. And now I'm going to go to databases. Critical part of this. Critical part. Databases. Right-click. Right-click. Right-click the top one, databases. I say right-click. New database. New database. All right. Database name. Excuse me. The database name is critical. If you misname this database, or if you mess this up, when you submit a file to me for grading, I will not be able to run your file. Therefore, it's going to come back to you. Okay? The database name is critical. I want you to name the database AP underscore uppercase DB accounts payable database. Look carefully at it. Make sure it's typed correctly. Do not make a mistake here. It will come back to haunt you. The owner is your user, the one you just created a minute ago. Mine is SW Smith. Yours, of course, is different. Your name is not SW Smith. Yours is whatever you made it be. Press enter. What's the problem here? Okay, sorry, we have to, I don't think we can do it that way. The owner, I think we go this guy right here, and the object name is SW. Did I put underscore? Check names. Okay, yeah, I had an underscore in my name. And so that's why it had a problem. I should have been able to have typed it there. In fact, I'm going to go cancel right there. And I'm going to, right here, I'm going to type it correctly. SW underscore. Okay. So I'll get that right. SW underscore Smith. And now when I say okay, oh crap. SW underscore check names. Pausing here for a second. Okay, let's see. Check names, SW Smith, browse. Owner is SW Smith. So database name is AP_DB. Owner is SW Smith. Oh, damn it. Pausing. Okay, let's back up and try that again. The reason that one bombed was because I had a database from an old installation created that was named AP_DB, and so it was picking that one up. This is why we do not try to reinstall. So I'm going to go, let's back up and start from scratch. You do not have one of these already created. Databases, I'm going to go new database. My database name is AP_DB. The owner is me, SWSMITH. And now this should work. There, it is created. I am the owner. Okay. AP_DB. I am going to create another database. I'm going to create a second database. So AP is Accounts Payable Database, DB. That is the one that we are going to be using most of the time. That is our working database. That is the one where our class will be most of the time. Under databases, I'm going to right-click again. New database. I'm going to name this second database Scratch, SCRATCH_DB. That is like scratch paper. That is just where I will create things just for the heck of it, just to see if it works. The owner of this database, again, will be the name of the user that you created over in logins. So mine is SW Smith. Press enter, and notice I have now two databases created. Okay. And SW Smith is down here. Ensure that everything looks right there. We should see AP_DB and ScratchDB. Let's go down here under logins. We'll go down to SW Smith. We'll right click, go to properties, or we could double click and get to the same. If we double clicked, we get to the same place. Now, one piece here, right at the very bottom where it says default database. Default database. This is the default database for who? SW Smith. This is where I go when I don't specify a database. Default database is not master. The default database is ScratchDB. ScratchDB. That means if I just say create a table, it gets created in ScratchDB. That's like scratch paper. The other one, which is AP_DB, where it is here, don't put that one. Put ScratchDB as your default. If you don't say, you go to Scratch and then you say OK. And now we are set up and ready to go. Databases, security, and the rest of the stuff. Right now, we're only worried about databases. Under databases, I should see AP_DB, and I should see ScratchDB. Under security, down at the bottom, I should see SA, which is the system administrator, and your user. My user is SW Smith. Your user might be, if your name is John Eric Doe, be J.E. Doe. Anything you want it to be, you may make it as long or as short as you want. So that's kind of your call on that. Okay, now we are almost there. We are almost there. Attached to your, what is this stuff? Don't know what that is. Attached to your email that you got was a file. And attached, that is the file. Let me see if I can get it here. Under Documents, Colin, that's where I stored it. You should store this one. SQL 17 install files. I want you to find the file. It is attached to the email that I sent you. And the file's name is create_ap.sql. Save that someplace where you can get to it easily. I put it in here with these install files. I'm free to delete all the rest of them if I want to. Basically, I'm going to go to my SQL Explorer. And I'm going to, this is my programming environment right here. I'm going to go to a File, Open, File. I'm going to navigate to where I saved that guy. So that was Documents, I believe it was Colin, 2309. That's where I saved it. SQL install files, and its name was create_ap.sql. I'll open it. This is an SQL file. This is a program. We're going to run this program. This program says use AP_DB. That means it's going to use the database that we created. And then he's going to run, and he's going to run 700 or 800 lines of code, and that'll be fine, but he's going to run it in that database. So it has to be AP_DB. When you are ready, we're going to click execute. And in 4 or 5 seconds, it should say query executed successfully. We are ready. We are installed. If you got that query executed successfully, everything is fine. Let's run a test. I'm going to close this window. I'm going to go up to New Query. New Query. I'm going to type these commands. Use AP_DB. In other words, use that database that we just created. Select asterisk from vendors, semicolon. I don't know why it's underlining it in red. We won't worry about it. When I get here, I'm going to go execute, and I should get 122 rows returned, and this is the contents of the table vendors. If I don't like seeing that red underline, I can right-click it, and I don't have to do anything with it. If I go down here to IntelliSense Enabled and turn it off, the red line will go away. I don't know why that red line was there. Sometimes it will be, sometimes it won't. For right now, this is the output we wanted. 122 rows, that's everything that is in the vendor's table. So that just tests it and says, can we see it? So if you get that, everything is fine. Even if it has a red line under it, we won't worry about it. And that's pretty much it. The other thing that is attached to the email was a syllabus. So the syllabus has the textbook and all that jazz in it. I will be talking a little bit more about it. My policy on turning in assignments is going to be each assignment will be assigned. Each assignment will have a due date. I'm not too worried about the due date. 1 week after the due date, 1 week after the due date, the you will not be able to turn it in. So you're allowed to be 1 week late without any penalty at all. After 1 week, it goes to a 0. So you have a due date, and that due date will typically be the end of the week when I assign it, and then you will have a due date. You may email me if you have any questions, and I will be posting a few more videos from time to time. For now, I think I'm going to wrap this up. I've only been talking here about 2 hours with my breaks that I had to take to do the install. So I'm going to go ahead and end my video now. And good day to you.